Hey there, YouTube coin community. It's Dustin with CoinOp, and today we are going to take a look at some really cool Indian head cent varieties that you should be looking for and cherry picking for. So let's dive right on in. Okay, for this video, we are going to take a look at really cool Indian head cent varieties. Now, these are not your standard double dies or misplaced dates or repunch dates. These are die gouges or lathe lines or just oddities, just ones that are odd that you should know about. Most of these are pretty popular. So let's take a look at these. We are going to start off over here in PCGS Price Guide. So if you were to go to PCGS Price Guide and scroll down to Indian head cent, that's where I'm at. And for this one, we are going to start with the 1865 Fancy 5. So right here where it says 1865 Fancy 5, I'm going to click on the little plus, and it's going to pull up the varieties that PCGS recognizes. And we're coming down here to the bottom one. If you see right here, they have it listed as Obverse Die Gouge FS 1401 or Snow 14. This is actually a lathe line that we're going to take a look at. This is a really cool and odd variety. I have no idea how this one made it out of the mint, but this one's pretty cool. If you're taking a look at the profile, and this one stands right out at you, right here starting at the tip of the headband, coming out of this nice arc, running right through there. That is a lathe line. That is from the lathe when they were making the die, but that is just really cool. That is the only Indian head cent I have ever seen like that. There are other examples that have lathe lines. Like, it's just a really cool variety. Let's take a look at this bigger image. Well, there you go. There's a nice close-up of that fantastic lathe line. So if you're ever looking through 1865 Fancy 5, and just so you know, the difference between a regular 5 and the Fancy 5 is the Fancy 5 has this nice little swoop to it. But if you're ever looking at your Fancy 5, 1865 Indian head cents, and you see some weird line running through the headdress, well, that's this fantastic die gouge variety, otherwise known as a lathe line. Now, if you happen to find one of these in a fine 12, they start out at around 150 bucks. And an AU example, they trade for around $550, while uncirculated examples, they start out at around 850 bucks. And they can trade all the way up to $750 for a nice high-grade example. Okay, next we are going to take a look at a really cool variety. Now, this is one that you're not actually going to find over here on PCGS. We're going to take a look at the 1870 Pickaxe variety. This one is listed as FS 303. Now, PCGS does not list this one, so we're going to have to come over to NGC's Variety Plus. And we need to go to 1870. Here we go. There's the 1870 Pickaxe FS 303. Now, I picked this one because it's pretty unique. I've never really seen any of the other ones like this. This one has damage to the obverse. It's got a die gouge right above the designer's initials that resembles a pickaxe. So they call it the Pickaxe variety. But right in the bottom of the two feathers, right where the designer's initials are, look for this weird die gouge. If you happen to see that, well, you have one of these really cool varieties. I don't own one of these. I'd like to see one of these. I've never examined one in hand. Again, this is not a super popular variety, but it is one that I think is really cool, and it's one that I think you should know about. Now, unfortunately, I do not know values on this one. This one is listed as a Snow 7, so I do not have values on what this one would trade for. I have never seen any of these in auction, so I couldn't tell you what these trade for. So, who knows, but it's a really cool variety. Okay, next one that we are going to take a look at is one of my favorite Indian head cent odd varieties, weird varieties that's out there. This is the 1875 dot reverse. I don't know if PCGS lists it or not. Oh, there it is, FS801. Actually, I think that might be incorrect. I believe it's actually FS901. But this is the Snow 16 variety. I really like this one. This one has a really cool story behind it. This one is called the dot reverse. Apparently, during this time period, during 1875, when they were minting these pennies, one of the mint employees supposedly was stealing some of these as he was minting them. He was putting some of his pockets and taking them with him. So they altered the die, and what they did is they altered the die by adding a dot to the reverse on the end. So that way when he left, if they searched his pockets, which they did, and it happened to have this dot on it, they knew he was stealing. Well, a bunch of them ended up getting released to the public, supposedly. Don't know how credible the story is, but that's the story. And this is the dot reverse. So the only thing on this is there is a raised dot right here at the top of the end. So this is just a really cool, unique variety. It's one of those weird ones. It's a great story coin. Now, if you happen to find one of these dot reverses, and I have cherry-picked these off of eBay, I'll just go on and look through all of the 1875s until I find one. You can easily cherry-pick these. These people miss this one all the time. They don't even realize it's out there. But in a fine 12, this trades for about $175, and in an AU, they trade for around $550, while uncirculated examples, they start out at around $675, and it looks like they can trade upwards of $5,350. That's pretty cool. Okay, we're going to move on to another one that I think is really cool. This is the 1892 Scarface variety. This one is listed as FS401. Let's see if PCGS lists this one. Yes, they do. Awesome. This one is really cool. This one has very heavy die scratches on the face. So when you look at it, at first it looks like just a scratched up coin. If you look at it, it just looks like a scratched up coin. But this is all raised. This is die scratches that are on the die itself. So all the coins struck with it have these raised lines of metal. So they call this the Scarface variety because of all of that raised metal. So she's got scars all over her face. I love this variety. I have not been able to cherry pick one of these because obviously this stands out. I have tried. I've been scouring and scouring to try and cherry pick one of these. I would absolutely love to. Hopefully one day I will. But if you happen to find one of these amazing Scarface varieties, well, in a fine 12, they start out at around $125. And in an AU50, they trade for around $350. While uncirculated examples, they start out at around $500, and it looks like they can trade all the way up to $1,100 for a nice high-grade example. Okay, we're going to move on to another one that I think is really cool. This is one I recently just cherry-picked off of eBay. We are going to take a look at the 1902 die gouge, listed as FS401, otherwise known as the Snow 4. Now this one, it's pretty obvious. I don't know how people miss this one. I literally just went through eBay looking at photos. I mean, I didn't even have to click on the images. You can see it even over there. If you just look right beneath the eye, you see this big die gouge. This big raised chunk of metal in the shape of an arrow. Well, that's what you're looking for. That's the variety. So I don't understand how people miss this one. This is a very well-known variety, but people miss this one all the time. Like I said, I recently just cherry-picked an example off of eBay. I paid $20 for it. This is a beautiful, well-known, popular variety. So just beautiful. Let's zoom in on that. So there you go. There is that nice die gouge right there underneath the eye. So something scratched the die very heavily. So anything that was struck after that happened has this raised chunk of metal. Beautiful coin. Absolutely beautiful. So if you do happen to find one of these, well, circulated examples, they start out in a fine 12 at around $60. And in an AU, they trade for around 175 bucks, while uncirculated examples, they start out at around $250, and they can trade all the way up to around $800 for a nice high-grade example. So there you go. There are some really cool, just really cool snow varieties, just some of the odder Indian head scent varieties that are out there. Some of these are just really amazing and really cool. So there you go. Get out your Indian head scents. Look for some of these fantastic varieties. Just a heads up, YouTube coin community. Art Ring from the RPM group on Facebook and in conjunction with CoinOp has put out a limited edition 1960D repunched mint mark RPM 1 commemorative pin. Now this pin, there's only 30 of them that are being put out. These are made in a copper-coated zinc, just like the 1982 Lincoln Cents until current. So this pin all around commemorates the repunched mint marks. The Lincoln Cent is just an amazing, awesome pin. And the only way for you to get your hands on one of these limited edition pins is to tune in to Robert Lawson's auctions starting the 29th of April and continuing for the next 2 weeks. So tune on into those auctions, get your hands on one of these amazing 1960D RPM group pins. Well, there you go. Out of these really cool and unique varieties, which one of these would you enjoy in your collection? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do us a huge favor and hit that thumbs up button. If you are not yet subscribed to our channel, click on that subscribe button. And while you are at it, click on the notification bell. That way you get notified immediately when we upload new content. Well, until next time, everyone, have fun.